Recently, we had the opportunity to visit Yorktown, Virginia, and the Revolutionary War battlefield sites of Yorktown. The siege took place in 1781 and was pivotal in assuring the colonies would break free from British rule, resulting in the creation of the United States. The British troops had retreated to the town of York on the banks of the York River, believing they would receive the support of the British fleet. However, the fleet never showed, and the British Army ended up surrounded by the Continental Army. The earthworks here were built by the American and French forces on the outskirts of Yorktown. They stretched off in that direction to the east, curving northeast around 1,000 yards, forming a continuous ring around the town of York that pinned down the British force within the town. This appears to be the remnants of a powder storage bunker, now covered to keep people from exploring. Over the top of the berm, just 350 yards away along that tree line, are the British fortifications, and right behind them, the town of York. This redoubt number 9 started out originally as a British redoubt or fortification, was eventually taken over by the Americans, and then the Americans used it to attack Yorktown, which is just over to the left there, over the top of the hill, very close to the town and to the much to the surprise of the British when the tide turned on them. As I mentioned, redoubts 9 and 10 began as part of the British defense system, but fell when the French and Americans attacked these two strongholds under the cover of darkness on 14 October 1781. To the horror of the British commanders, when the sun rose on the morning of 15 October, redoubts 9 and 10 went from being the far left of the British line to being the far right of the American line, further tightening the noose on the British force in Yorktown. Just a few yards south of the American fortifications is the Yorktown National Cemetery. This is a Civil War cemetery. You see, 81 years after the Revolutionary War siege here at Yorktown, another siege occurred here during the American Civil War in 1862. The site was chosen partly because of its proximity to the site where the British surrendered back in 1781. There are over 2,100 burials here, 747 of which are known, leaving well over half unknown. Some have 2 or 3 bodies in the same grave. This particular line was occupied by the French, who were helping the Americans in their revolt against England. And they were firing on the town over in that direction, towards the east, helping to support and get rid of the English. The fortifications I was in a few minutes ago are 300 yards ahead of us out there. The British positions were further out at the far tree line. The French Allies used this location to set up cannon and mortar and shelled Yorktown 1,500 yards away, just beyond that far tree line, as well as the British trenches just 700 yards away, right at the tree line. Here's what looks to be another powder magazine. After a week of steady, non-stop, day and night bombardment and no prospects for rescue, the British found themselves facing surrender or massacre. It was in this house, the Moore House, that the British agreed to surrender to the Continental Army. That surrender took place on Friday, 19 October 1781, effectively ending the Revolutionary War and assuring America's independence from England. This is the grave of John Turner, a 30-year-old merchant that came to watch the bombardment of Yorktown with his own eyes. He became a casualty of his own curiosity. Either a bullet or a piece of shell killed Turner just 6 days before the British surrender. His grieving wife had him laid to rest here in the grounds of the Moore House. I hope you enjoy that little explore of the Yorktown battlefield here in Virginia. Until the next time, remember, life is a journey. Enjoy the ride, and thanks for watching.